New York appeals court has now rejected former President Donald Trump's request to lift the gag order in his New York criminal case. It appears Trump will have to campaign under Judge Juan Merchan's gag order through the 2024 election. Even though the trial is already over, legal experts claim Merchan's refusal to lift the gag order is a vast overreach of power. Here's what Jonathan Turley wrote. You have a local New York judge effectively limiting what the leading presidential candidate can say in the months leading up to the election. The continuation of the gag order seems untethered from any compelling rationale. Putting aside the questionable value of the continuation of the gag order, in this case, Judge Merchan is ignoring the countervailing cost for the political system. George.
Well, I'm not a New York lawyer. I'm a Texas lawyer, proudly, but there isn't much precedence for...
So you're better.
Exactly.
Such a humble brag.
We're bigger. Bigger and better. But no, I would say that there isn't precedence here in New York. Other celebrities that have been under similar gag orders typically have had that gag order lifted by the district judge as the underlying issues are litigated at the appellate level. And I think President Trump will eventually have his court day, whether it's at a higher level or in the federal court system.
How high could it go? Could it go to the U.S. Supreme Court?
If he chooses to appeal that, he can. And, you know, look, I think it only benefits, since this lawfare campaign has occurred throughout the country against the president, it only benefits him. I mean, if you look at the correlation between this legal aspect of what the left is bringing against him, particularly blue progressive DAs, you'll see that his polling has only increased and gotten stronger over time.
Oh, sure.
So, you know, last time I was with you all, and the fundraising. So, I mean, last time I was with you, I remember sharing that it's not like Democrats are asking me for advice, but I would have shut down the lawfare strategy and just focused on issues. But that's what this president is not interested in doing.
That was long before the verdict. So I have to share with the audience, you are hot on this issue. I've never seen you like pound your notes.
I am. Look, the New York Appeals Court, so viewers understand, that's the highest court in New York. So essentially it's their Supreme Court. When you are talking about political speech, core political speech, you get the highest level of scrutiny. A law is considered under strict scrutiny. And for all those, I know it sounds like legalese, the point is we really look and make sure that laws do not affect political speech. I do not see how anyone can argue that a gag order on a presidential candidate 7 days before a presidential election does not implicate the First Amendment. Donald Trump's lawyer specifically said there's a debate coming up. What happens on the stage when Joe Biden cites Michael Cohen or cites Stormy Daniels?
Well,
I don't know if they'll go there. Trump can't answer. Trump can't answer. How is that good for the American people? This is the highest court in New York, and I find the ruling to be shameful.
Emily, how can that happen at that debate if that comes up? I mean, that's like someone accusing you of murder, and you can't say, I didn't do it.
And the thing that is so disheartening as well, to carry your ball a little further about the strict scrutiny, is that think about in the court of law, we talk about this often, when the prejudicial nature, the court balances whether something will prejudice or it has probative value. Essentially, let me weigh whether the damaging impact of this particular issue outweighs whether it helps. And the point is that you always defer to the defendant. You always defer to something that is remediable so that you err on the side of helping the defendant, so that you err on the side of protecting political speech or whatever constitutional right you have at that moment. So here, it really boggles my mind that they wouldn't err on the side of protecting a political candidate, a presidential political candidate's speech, especially because the trial ended. So, look, I'm not the president's attorney, but I would say answer away, Mr. President, and just deal with the consequences after, because the consequences from him speaking as he should on that stage during the debate will have far greater consequences, better for him than acquiescing to this ridiculous gag order.
Kennedy, that Emily's talking about are for the American people. I mean, if they can't hear from the presidential candidate, then how do they vote? I mean, that is the height of election interference.
Well, it has been benefiting the former president so far. So, if I were him, I would actually secretly want them to keep the gag rule in order, or the gag order in place.
But he's got to be able to fight back.
Well, of course he should fight back. He should look like he's fighting back. But secretly, it's like, hey, man, I would love to tell you guys the truth, but I can't. My lips are sealed by this entire establishment that is trained against me and just wants to squash me and you and your future prosperity. And so I think it's one of the best things that has happened to him. It's one of the remnants of the case It's the stinky bologna that's been left in the fridge for over an hour, and everyone knows it smells to high heaven. But at this point, it's benefiting him, so let's keep it right where it is.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.